track.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM ANZCAR, presenting a slightly different thing tonight. We've got a replay here of the ANZCAR Truck Series from Charlotte. I'm Stuart Brown. I am joined tonight by Carl Withy, who is a man who can be in two places at one time tonight. Carl, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, hey Stuart, doing the double tonight. Yeah, driving and commentating, a very, very tough skill, but I've mastered it, I can say. Before we get underway with everything, I'm just going to quickly go over the championship standings as they were after race 9. That was Circuit of the Americas. So Stephen Williams up there in first place still, 65 points ahead of Luke Traher there in second. Riley Curtis still in third with Kay Donnelly in fourth, joint fourth with Matty Raymond there. Sixth is Ruben Phelps with Michael Skurlock in seventh. 8th is Christopher Finley with Chris Purnell in 9th, and 10th is Norman Clark. So the championship, it's looking like it's Stephen Williams is to lose, really. He has got a good lead, but it's still close for the rest of the positions.
Yeah, we're not going to get time to go through here as we run straight into the start of the race, but it is Riley Curtis and Aidan Schultz off the front of the grid tonight, so we'll get underway.
And away we do. A good start there up at the front. We are under everything, and Riley Curtis has got a good position. You've got also Danny G up there right at the front of the grid as well, battling away with Ryan Jones, I believe, as we go through those order. Ryan Jones and Danny G there. Just looking at the actual timings, there's a little bit of issues. There is a big incident at the front there.
Yeah, it looks like just the order just sorting itself back out there. I'm just jumping on board here.
So, big incident there at the front. Saw one of the Mark 1E sport cars involved with that one.
So it is Danny G who joins Ryan Jones at the front of the pack. So things just resetting here a little bit. The first time we've had to run the replay, so it's just tidying itself up a little bit. But it is Ryan Jones at the front with Danny G, I believe, right next to him. Indeed it is, just showing there in 9th and 10th respectively. So we'll try and keep you up to drift. We'll try and keep you up to speed even with what's going on with that as this thing sorts itself out. It looks like Dwayne Priest currently in 3rd, Brian Richmond 4th. We've got Lachlan Urquio in 5th, Josh Micklemore 6th, James Robbie, Christopher Finlay, Matt Knight and Mirka Doutnak as the, I believe, top 10 cars as we stand at the moment.
Yeah, you have to forgive us tonight. There's going to be a few little issues with timing and scoring as things are a little bit funny at the moment, just because this is a replay. But yeah, Ryan Jones is the leader with Danny G there in 2nd place. A few cars having to come into pit lane. Big incident at the start there. There was an issue with some netcode causing that huge caution, that huge wreck, a little bit in the mid pack, and a lot of cars getting involved in that one. I can speak from personal experience there as well. It was a bit of a dodgy one to get through. There was a lot of smoke, and there was a big moment. I think I'm down in around about 20th place, somewhere around about that sort of area at the moment. But there was a lot of cars involved in that, and quite a bit of dodging having to be done to get around some of those vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can cause it. That's one of the risks, obviously, of virtual motorsport. We've almost reset ourselves here. You'll see Ryan Jones just showing there as third, so he is first. It's showing Billy Hickey and Riley Curtis in front of him, but in fact they are around towards the rear of the field. But these issues that do confront drivers in real life as well. So it is no different to that.
No, that's it, Joe. It is very tricky, and as we said, there's been a lot of people complaining about the smoke visibility and things like that when there is a big wreck on these ovals, and it is hard, but it's just as hard in full metal racing as it is in sim racing. When you have lack of visibility and you're traveling at almost 200 odd kilometers, 220, 240 kilometers per hour, it's very hard to pull it up and very hard to dodge accidents sometimes. Very easy to have a big one happen.
Yes, absolutely. So the lights on the pace truck should go out, and we'll get ourselves back underway here. The order has sorted itself out, so the time monitor's caught itself back up. So we now do have our top 10. Let's quickly go through them. It is Jones, Danny G, Dwayne Priest, Brian Richmond with Lachlan Urquio. We've got Josh Micklemore, James Robbie, Christopher Finlay, Matt Knight, and Mirko Doutnak as our top 10 cars as we sit right now.
Yeah, good start there. Ryan Jones showing some really good pace out there tonight, as well as Danny G. Those two had some good qualifying laps underneath them. They started on the very front row of the grid, if I remember correctly. So those two having some very, very good pace out there. But some fast cars up the top there. You can never count out people like Josh Micklemore. He's one of those drivers that can absolutely blitz it away, as the pace truck will be pulling in to pit lane here. We'll be going back to green. Ryan Jones is going to lead away, puts his foot down on the accelerator, gets a great start there. Danny G is just going to try and slot in behind him with Lachlan Urquio just behind himself there. They are going to be going into this and racing as hard as they can.
Yeah, always good to be at the front when the pace car ducks in control of the pack, and Ryan Jones wastes no time getting a good start there as well, so look out for him making his way up. Do need to focus as well. A little bit of movement in the paddock throughout the last week. Mirko Doutnak has joined back up with Chris Purnell and the Crank E Sports boys. I say back up because he did used to run with them when they were part of a team whose name slips my mind at the moment. But he has joined Crank Esports, so you'll see him there now in the 62 Crank Esport livery truck. A little bit of damage to the back of that one. We actually had 10 drivers caught up in that initial exchange of netcode that caused the first caution period, so a little bit of other damage there on a couple of the other cars. We look down through the pack.
Yeah, it was a big accident. A lot of people got caught up in that, and it was at high speed as well, coming off the first turn. A few people actually ended up bouncing into pit road as well. Yes, Mirko Doutnak joining the team, formerly Illusion when they were all together way back in the day. But nice to see Mirko back up there, and those guys get along very, very well. Aidan Schultz up there in 10th position at the moment, running well in the Mark 1 Esport team as well. Hoping to have a little bit better luck tonight, hoping that no black cats run across his path or under his pedals or anything like that. Has been a little bit unlucky at some stages, but you do make your own luck in motorsport sometimes. Matt Knight there as well, having a good run.
We got Matt's got the universal upload for his profile there, so you got a picture of Matt in on screen. We're working on some of that sort of stuff in the background as well for some changes to the stream. So, but Matt Knight doing well. I think that's actually the first time I've seen Matt run. So, is he a series returnee or a new admission to the series?
Matt did run a race earlier on in the season. Ended up with a sort of outside finish. Didn't get the best result, so has run a race this season in the trucks, but not a complete regular, but nice to see him back in there. One of those sort of part-time regulars, sort of part-time drivers that we do see pop in occasionally. I'd say a bit like myself, but I'm mainly up here because of broadcasting. But yeah, a few drivers out there. Sorensen as well out there tonight. We saw a couple of drivers out there which don't always run, which is always nice. A few of the drivers who just can't get out every week, but when they do, they do definitely enjoy themselves.
So we did just see a change for the lead there. Danny G moving up down the inside of Ryan Jones and moving into first place. Certainly no job done there. Only 11 laps into this one. And Ryan is still all over the back of Danny G as they come around. There is another very close battle going on between Lachlan Urquio and James Robbie as well. In fact, it's between Mickelmore, Urquio, Robbie and Doubtnack. We've got a small pack developing there. Brian Richmond on the back of him along with Christopher Finlay. So this is a nice little battle pack forming here for positions basically 3 through to 9th position.
Yeah, really tight there up the top. Some really close racing going on between these guys. And we do see this quite often, these really close fought battles. Good little pack forming up here as we've got a bit of green flag running at the moment. And they are really trying to push it as well, trying to get those cars right up underneath. It's very hard to pass here. It pretty much becomes a single line track, and it is easy to run a bit wide and hit that outside wall, hit that safer barrier sometimes.
Yeah, indeed. So I'll try and just having a look here down through the field. We've got Cam James, Matt Knight still battling away as well. So it's always trying to give a little bit more coverage throughout. Looks like there was a fair few issues with Netco during the evening. Igor Burkic here dropping out. In fact, a number of the drivers just dropping in and out there as well.
Yeah, a little bit of that is to do with, unfortunately, the replay. Myself and Danny G, we do have a little bit of issues sometimes with replays just not showing things up properly. And sometimes a few people do just drop out of position, and it is a little bit frustrating sometimes. One of the tricky things about replays on iRacing.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we've got a safety car, and we've got a caution here, indeed, which I didn't get a notification for.
Caution's out for the 03 and 78. I believe that's Bradley Allison got caught up in that one. So we've got a caution out there. Big crash towards the back of the pack between Allison and the 78, I believe. I'm just trying to remember who that is off the top of my head. A little bit tricky to remember, but the cars are going to come into pit lane this time round. The tyres are a big thing here tonight. You do get a big drop-off in pace with the tyres. Tyres pretty much last about 2 to 3 laps here before they start actually dropping off, and there's big understeer issues as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've restarted the monitor there, and it has come up trumps. So now we've got live information as well. So unfortunately, can't bring you the replay of that one there as we're on board with Danny G here as he's getting the pit lane service done. You can see the crew there getting to work on that truck and putting a new set of boots on it before he heads back out of the lane. Tristan Koch getting in ahead of him. In fact, Carl as well yourself. So we've got Koch, Danny G as well, Ryan Jones getting out of pit lane. Some of the guys obviously opting not to take tyres, which is a little surprising, but I don't have full pit lane information there. And but yeah, jumping and changing around the order.
Yeah, a few people taking a few different strategies. Right here, actually, I decided to just stick it out. I was hoping to get a lap led, but I was also just trying to avoid the absolute carnage that happens inside pit lane when you come in pit lane when there is a caution like that. So just decided to stay out for 1 lap longer and then come into pit lane the following lap. So it was a nice clean entry and clean little pit stop. Although I believe I actually do miss my marks on this one, so a little bit embarrassing. But myself and Tristan Koch actually missed his pit stop as well, so that's why he was coming around too. So he had to go around and just come in for a pit stop as well. So I just decided to sort of just come in a lap later. I did hope to lead a lap at least, try and get a bonus point. It didn't work out quite perfectly for me, but these things do happen. Danny G up the front there with Ryan Jones and those guys, with Josh Mickelmore there as well. Those guys are in good standings at the moment. Mitch Motorsport looking very strong at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. One that surprised me a little bit was to see Steve Williams so far down the field. I don't think he actually qualified from what I saw on the timing monitor. I might be wrong there, so don't hold me to it. But he started in 23rd position, so by nature he obviously did qualify, but just a little bit out of order normally for what we would see from Stephen, who's generally used to seeing him right up the front.
Yeah, Stephen, he seemed to have a bit of a bad lap in qualifying from what I heard. He just had a little bit of tail step out on that first lap, and it cost him a bit. And it was a tricky qualifying session for everybody. Usually the second lap can be the fastest lap on a place like Charlotte, just because you're building up the speed. But the trouble is, if you get the tyres too hot, you start running up the track, especially through turns 3 and 4, those final 2 corners, and it's very easy to sort of just overdo it a little bit. The first corners, if you run through there a bit too hot, you sort of lose a little bit of speed coming onto the back straight. But 3 and 4 can be the corners that really cost you. And if you just get that little bit of oversteer, you just got to lift a little bit. And I think that's what happened to Stephen Williams. So he had a bit of a troublesome one. He's coming back into pit lane right here, just to get some slight repairs done as well, I believe.
Just drops out there again on us, but we'll jump back on with the leader here as the lights go out on the pace truck, and we are going to get back underway. So it is Danny G, Ryan Jones, Josh Micklemore, we've got Dwayne Priest, Lachlan Urquio, James Robbie, Christopher Finlay, Nathan Button, Cam James and Braden Thomas as our top 10 as we get underway with what will be our second restart of the night, lap 17. And all the drivers have pitted various strategies as Carl was going through, so see who can do what as we get this one back underway here at Charlotte.
Yeah, Danny G's in a good spot at the moment. The inside line is where you want to be on these restarts. If you start on that high line, it can really cause you to suffer into that first corner. So being on that low line is a huge advantage here, and it was working out to be a huge advantage all night long. But Ryan Jones is keeping as close as he can to Danny G right there. You can see they are just side by side at the moment, and they are just going to wait until the very last moment. Danny G's just going to try and lure Ryan Jones into maybe accelerating a little bit quicker, or try and catch him off guard. Pace truck has come in, and we are back to green. Danny G gets a really nice restart there. That's going to pull his teammate Josh Micklemore along with him, who's going to help just keep Ryan Jones on the outside, and that's going to cost him a little bit of speed there. Just behind him, I think that's Lachlan Urquio as well, just getting right up there in the battle.
Yeah, he did indeed. A good restart there. We've got Matty Knight just dropping down through the field a little bit. Tristan Koch, Aiden Schultz look like they're fighting down and around 27th, 28th position as well, as we're right up close here. Ryan Jones very much on the back of Josh Micklemore at this restart. Mitch Motorsport boys will be working together here to try and get themselves a lead. And we've seen this week in, week out from these two, just able to work together to run at the front. And Ryan Jones will be doing what he can to interrupt that flow. Also got Dwayne Priest there just off the back of them. And he's trying to stick with them here as we get round through lap 19.
Yeah, it's Josh Micklemore's almost put in the wrong spot at the moment. That low line is going to be the slightly quicker line. But you can see Ryan Jones and Danny G just side by side at the moment, really racing hard. You want to have that slight high line going into the corner, but mid-corner you want that low line, because as you get as you go through that corner on that high line, you just start losing the car. It starts to understeer on you, and it just gets harder and harder to work. But at the moment, Josh Micklemore has managed to take that lead. Ryan Jones just behind him, Danny G and Dwayne Priest there in fourth. Another good run for Dwayne Priest. We've seen Dwayne Priest having some great runs this season. Nice to see him up there in P4. Lachlan Urquio, the ARCA Series champion, there in fifth position, with James Robbie in sixth, Finley in seventh. James in 8th, with Button 9th, and Rolock in 10th position at the moment.
Nathan Rolock, a big move as well. He's up 27 positions from qualifying, so now I say 28 positions from qualifying. So he's having a fantastic run, as you pointed out. It's good to see the progression of some of these drivers throughout this series. Of course, I'm new to the truck series this year, and I can see the development with some of these drivers, particularly the ones that ran in the 87s as well when we broadcast that late last year. So definitely drivers to sit in that category, along with Ruben Phelps. In fact, he's running a little lower tonight than we would expect, but in that Mark 1 Motorsport truck, he is making his way up the field. Truck's still in good condition. We talk about it week in, week out. We'll talk about it every week until the truck series finishes, that it's about having a clean truck before you get towards the end of the race that really holds you in good position.
Yeah, it does. It makes a huge difference when you've got a clean running truck, and when you don't have damage on it. It just helps. The things like the tyres, the aero kit, everything like that. It also helps your confidence as well. You just feel a little bit more confidence. Ruben Phelps has had a fantastic debut season in the trucks, though, and in the ANZCAR series as well, running a little bit lower today than normal. But we've seen some good results, and it's a good way of doing it as well. Ruben Phelps has sort of gone the right way around it, of sort of working in the trucks before jumping up to the Cup Series, focusing as we get somebody very loose there, as somebody into the wall, big hit there, catching Ruben Phelps, and I think that was that Riley Curtis, or was that Aiden Schultz there? That's going to bring out the caution.
I did see Braden Thomas will try and jump back on board here with the replay. Yeah, Braden Thomas there, getting really loose. He did clip Schultz as well, so that there, a big mistake. He's jumped out. That's night over for Brandon Thomas. My apologies, Brandon.
Yeah, big accident there. Easy mistake to make. As I said, that wall is very unforgiving up there. It's very easy to get caught up there, and that is night over. It was a moment of a little bit of a moment of fear from me. I think the replay may have skipped ahead, Stuart, because it's got the checkered flag up there. We were on, what lap was that? And now I'm trying to jump back. Forgive us for some slight technical issues. The joys of running on a replay, it makes things a little bit trickier, unfortunately. I've got a feeling where were we? We'll just be about lap 20 something, I think. But yeah, unfortunately, the joys of running on replay, because we couldn't bring it live on Monday night. But we'll do our best to get as much information across as we can tonight. As we jump back a bit further, and we'll get there eventually. Using the old iRacing buttons to get it in the right spot. So yeah, it was a big incident there, and it caused a lot of havoc through the field. I had an interesting night, to say the least. Quite a few incidents that sort of got very close to catching me out throughout the night. I sort of had some good views from some of those accidents, unfortunately. I wish I could say I didn't, but yeah, there were some quite scary moments through the evening, and that was definitely one of the big ones there, because a lot of cars getting caught up in that, and it was very unfortunate.
Yeah, and albeit the flag is on the screen, as Carl said, we've still got plenty to go here. I'm just trying to get that to reset itself as well, and we're on lap 32 of 102, so we'll keep that up to date for you. I'm gonna try and reload the overlay a little bit at my peril, so hopefully it works.
Well, we'll see how this goes. A bit of experimentation is always fun. And just to mention from Lockie there, about the top line, it was a bit quicker once you got about 5 laps on the tyres, and yeah, it sort of, once you got it working, it was quite okay. It was a bit of a strange night all in all, and yeah, a few drivers getting caught out with that sort of side-by-side action as it got out a little bit. The cars got a little bit understeery. They were quite tight, and then all of a sudden they got a bit loose and then tight again. It was a bit of a strange night out at Charlotte, but it is always fun. Up at the front there, you got Ryan Jones and Josh Micklemore right now battling it out. They are neck and neck as we stand. Josh Micklemore there just holding Ryan Jones back, just trying his best to keep a fast charging Jones behind him.
Yeah, indeed, the gap there just down and around a quarter of a second between Micklemore and Jones. Danny G's dropped back a little bit further, and Lockie, Ukrio is actually battling with him. You can see him there just down underneath him as well. So plenty of fighting throughout the pack. We'll switch back here, particularly given that Lockie's tuned in tonight, and have a look at him giving Danny G a little bit of a hurry up there as we get this one through.
Yeah, good battle between these two. Lachlan, again, one of those drivers that's a bit newer to the Oval Series, and was in last year, but has been learning all the way, and especially taking out that ANZCAR Championship, really doing wonders for his confidence. And we've seen with him, he's just been getting much more speed. Danny G now getting underneath Ryan Jones here, so those who are starting to battle it out. Danny G looking quick out there tonight in the 24 Mitch Motorsport car. Managing to get underneath Ryan Jones, who just runs up a bit high. You can see Lachlan trying his best to get between the two there, trying to make it go 3 wide. He's taking a punt on Ryan Jones at the moment, thinking he's going to be the faster line. Who is it going to work out for at the moment? Looks like Ryan Jones is holding position there at the moment. Danny G is sitting neck and neck with Lockie, but he has the inside line. It is a really close racing between these 3 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, trademark of the series so far. So 24 of Danny G just down on the low line, 42 of Lachlan Urquio just right up on the back of Ryan Jones, so giving him a little bit. Just trying to go back through who took tyres. I'm pretty sure all 4 drivers took tyres in the stops, so no better rubber getting around out there at the moment. James Robbie jumping onto the back of this one, and Christopher Finlay joining in as well. So we've now got a really, really solid battle here of around about 6 trucks trying to make it up into second place.
Yeah, it is really close between these guys, and they are battling it out perfectly well. Yeah, like you're just saying, been racing for 12 months now. I wouldn't say I'm new, but compared to some of the guys, I'm just saying, one of the newer drivers, not exactly a rookie, but you're not exactly one of the old grizzled veterans like Edward Foster, of course. You've got youth on your side, Lockie. But Danny G and Lockie both fighting it out at the moment. But yeah, Lachlan has really been showing some really good turns of speed recently, and really coming up the order and putting a lot more pressure on the front of the field, which is what we love seeing. Just behind, you can just see there with James Robbie as well. So those guys are really, really battling it out.
So just looking further back down the field to see what we can jump on here, and we've got Aaron Dillon, Brad Allison. Carl, you're involved in this battle as well as Luke Trahere, so there's a good group of cars there. A little bit of damage to the 13 of Allison, the 13 of Dillon, my apologies, Brad Allison, and a little bit of damage there to the truck of Luke Trahere as well, as he makes his way up past. Just trying to catch up on this.
Trying to catch up on all the details there.
Aaron Dillon, I should say.
Yep,
so
Aaron Dillon there. Mirko Dortnek right behind me, I think it was at this stage. And yeah, it's a pretty heated battle there. As Aaron Dillon actually coming into pit lane this time around, which just frees me up a little bit just to start chasing down Luke Trahere. So really good battle going on in that mid-pack for around about 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th positions. Dillon just locking up into the pit lane, I think just getting a little bit Larry in there, and probably getting a little bit of a speeding penalty. So not exactly what you want to have happen, but at the moment Josh Mickelmore up there in the lead, got a good lead at the moment over the rest of the front pack. Managing to hold it out there and doing another good job.
Yeah, absolutely. So got about a 3-second gap at the moment, so just some clean air for Josh Mickelmore, and able to create that gap. Yeah,
and another one of those drivers that has just got heaps of experience and many wins under their belt. But the Mitch Motorsport team, one of those very strong teams, himself, Danny G, of course, Jason Martin and Hamish Gallagher in that team. Very, very strong drivers. and they always put up a good, strong showing. A little bit further back, Ryan Jones has managed to break away from Danny G a little bit, but the battle is quite close between the field, and it's this stage here, we're on lap 44, I think we are, and it's just starting to get to the stage where people are starting to think about possibly tyres or coming in, because the car's just getting a little bit leery, a little bit sort of, the tyres start to wear off a little bit. Ran about 30 laps since the pit stops in the caution, of course. So people are just starting to think about sort of what's going to happen, and thinking a caution would be quite useful around about this stage, of course, to get you towards the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So so far tonight, just the 2 caution periods early on in the race. So pit stops are going to start to come into play, as you say. So I'm just trying to see there. Igor Berkic's just jumped into pit lane. So he is taking one right now.
Yeah, first guy to really blink for a pit stop, Berkic. Was struggling a bit out there. I think had a bit of damage as well, but yeah, definitely it's getting towards that stage where the tyres are starting to drop off that little bit, and you could think about the undercut and things like that. Of course, the big problem with those situations is if you're the first to pit, you can miss out, because if that caution flag flies, then you are going to be in some serious trouble.
As Ryan Jones here comes up on some lap traffic as well, so he's got that to contend with. I was just trying to work out who that was. Is it the 26?
26 there, yeah, and
That's Billy Hickey.
Yes, Billy Hickey, there we go. Yeah, a little bit further down, unfortunately involved in the early incident. Bill Hickey there, and that's dropped him right down, but just keeping it out there just in case anything else happens, of course. The race is never over until that checkered flag falls, or where we do have a checkered flag on the screen. It's not the official checkered flag, but you can still make up some good positions even if you've had a bit of misfortune, of course, out there. I think Bill Hickey is currently showing...
Yeah, I may have miscalled that actually. He's currently sitting in 10th position. Again, the timing's just not quite up there. So Billy Hickey actually they're not doing too poorly.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I think he's actually up there in position. So they're fighting it, duking it out currently for positions at the moment. We do apologise. Running on the delay with the replay. There's a few little technical gremlins that are nibbling away at the cables and the software, of course, but we are seeing some good racing out there between these guys, and it is very close at the moment.
Just trying to reload everything again now just to get it up to date for you, but it is still Josh Micklemore out in front at the moment. And he's got the 42 of Lachlan Urquio right behind him, and Danny G also involved in this leading battle pack.
Yeah, good little fight going on here at the front of the pack. These guys are really putting on a good little show. Lachlan is putting the pressure on Josh Micklemore at the moment, and just running that car really well. He seems to have some good pace out there tonight. Probably got some of the better long run pace as well we've seen tonight, because that's the other thing as well, Charlotte. You can have some good short run pace or good long run pace depending on how you drive the car, and it looks like at the moment Okio's got some good long run pace going on, which is nice to see, but he's really starting to try and apply that pressure to Josh Micklemore there right at the front of the field. And his teammate, Josh Micklemore's teammate Danny G, just behind him as well, with one of the Pace Syndicate cars, James Robbie.
So just having a look out the back of Josh Micklemore's car as well. It's Ryan Jones following directly behind him. Just trying to not even jump on board and do a lap with Josh Micklemore as he gets one underway here
Yeah, you can sort of see if you watch the rev counter, he'll be lifting off as he comes into the corner, and it will just lifts off as you go through that corner, just to ease off that little bit. It goes up a little bit high there, and you just have to lift off a little bit more there so you don't go up into the wall. But yeah, Lachlan really chasing down Micklemore at the moment and putting on the pressure.
Just Lockie's still on the stream with us.
As
Josh
the pace
down.
truck is out because we've got a caution. As we say, unfortunately,
I'm not going to jump back to it this time.
Yes, a big wreck in.
Looks like Ben Vickers might have been involved in that. I've got an indication on the screen that that he was there.
Yes, from memory, yeah, Vickers was involved in that one. There was a big incident, and that brought out the caution, unfortunately, and denied us of some good running up the front. As Lachlan was saying, actually in the chat, he was chasing down Josh Micklemore in that battle and really putting the pressure on as they come into pit lane to change tyres and get everything scrubbed up. And pretty much everybody's going to be coming into pit lane this time round because those tyres are getting well and truly worn out on lap 54. So everybody be chopping it up with fuel and getting tyres put on there. The fresh rubber is going to be an absolute godsend for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Based on that, we did have a good stretch there, as you said, of green flag running. So just waiting here to see. I'm assuming most will get tyres. Yeah, there you go. So Josh Micklemore's car up. He just took the working side. The lower side is the working side, left-hand side of the car. So he is back out there in the lead. He's got thing there. It looks like Danny G came out behind him. Maybe Ryan Jones as well. So just try and get a bit of better vision of that as they form up behind the pace car. So was Danny G? I'm just not too familiar with that green car. Maybe that's James Robbie. Yeah, James Robbie in the 41 there, and Lachlan behind him. So that is where they have re-emerged. Of course, there was some who didn't pit by the look of it. Plenty.
Yeah, a couple of cars staying out just a little bit longer, and again, just going to come in once they've come around for this lap, just coming in with a bit of a less chaotic pit lane. A couple of people who did pit earlier as well. A few people had just made some green flag stops too, so a few of them were sort of out of position, unfortunately, which never helps things. It does make things a little bit uncomfortable when you pit under green, and things go very wrong for you very quickly in that respect. But yeah, a few people just jumping in and just getting it worked out. So it's that thing of just trying to work out where you want to be in these pit stops and how you want it to work out for yourself. And that's sometimes one of the trickier things to do when you are racing on ovals, is just sort of doing the mathematics and trying to work out what exactly you need to do to get to the end of the race, and what you need on the car to get you there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Race management, very important.
I think Gary Wellman just in front of Josh Micklemore at the moment, but I think a lap down possibly, or stayed out there. But yeah, a few cars just sort of stuck out there at the moment. But Josh Micklemore's got those nice fresh tyres, which is going to help him out an awful lot as this race continues to unfold.
Maybe a challenge for us to try and work out the finishing order. I guess that's one of the advantages of not streaming it live and having access to the results afterwards. We'll be able to make sure we know exactly what happened, but yeah, a little bit challenging there. It's saying to Carl before the stream, I think I've only actually ever streamed a replay once before, and that was probably 12 months ago now, actually. So a little bit rusty on how the old replay file works. But we're about to get back underway here by the look of it, and it will be Josh Micklemore and Ryan Jones. No, Josh Micklemore and Danny G at the front of the field. To get this one back underway when the pace truck pulls in.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, as we were saying, so a big thank you to Danny G as well for giving us the replay, his replay tonight. Mine was a bit choppy as well, so we were trying to work out which is the best replay to try and do this with, and Danny G had the most upfront action, so that's the area where we want to focus on, the front of the field. Although I'm sure most of you would love to see, love to watch me more out there on the track, but yeah, seeing the front of the field is probably a bit more important for this race. But Josh Whitmore is going to lead away on that inside line with Danny G on the outside, so it's going to be an interesting restart here. Again, those two are going to get a good opportunity to work out as a team. Teamwork always can be helpful with this one. But as you were saying, unfortunately, with the replays, showing things on a replay, it's not quite as easy. I'm actually having to watch the race via Discord, so I don't have all my usual time in scoring details. But we are coming back to live. The pace truck has come in. Micklemore's going to drop the hammer. He gets a good start there. James Robbie as well just tries to keep on behind him. That's going to just block Danny G's inside line a little bit. How's this going to go for Danny G? Will he be able to get ahead of Robbie? Does not look like it.
No, good restart there for Micklemore. I've got Robbie Urquio and Danny G just in the background here. We're just going to jump to this battle. And the triple one of Ryan Jones as well involved in this. So he's now ready and pushing as always. He's moved up into that high line in front of Lachlan Urquio. So they've moved in the top line. That's kept the 41 of James Robbie down low. And he looks like he's still just managing to keep pace there. He's got his nose just in front. In fact, no, now he has slid down. Danny G just dropping down in front of him. So switching high to low there. Is it working well for him?
Yeah, Ryan Jones looks like he's got a lot of pace out there tonight. That truck is working well for him. He's able to run both high and low lines quite easily and switch between them without too much trouble. He's all over the back of Danny G at the moment. A bit like a rash. He's just sticking to the back of Danny G, doing a great job of keeping right on the tail of that truck as we stand. With Josh Micklemore still out there in the lead. Just a little bit further back, you can see Lachlan Urquio and James Robbie there, both battling it out as well. James Robbie just on that low line at the moment, Urquio on that slightly higher line. It takes a little bit longer for the higher line for the tyres to kick in, as Lachlan said, but once they do, it should be okay. So we're going to see Urquio get down in front of Robbie and now try and put the pressure on Ryan Jones.
And Jones equally doing the same to Danny G. So keep an eye on this battle now between second and third. Mitch Motorsport and the SimSpeed vehicles.
Yeah, putting on a good show at the moment, these two. They are right next to each other, neck and neck as they stand. And from what I heard over the radio last night on Monday night when I was driving, those two were very close most of the evening, battling it out and having some good fun there up at the front of the field. The mid-pack is quite tight as well. Quite a lot of drivers battling it out a bit further down. Some, unfortunately, with damage like Manny Raymond, Aidan Schultz, Ruben Phelps. So quite a few drivers out there not having the best of nights, sadly. But Paul Jackson having a good run up towards the front of the field as well. But yeah, a lot of trucks with some serious damage a little bit further down the field at the moment. Luke Traher having a good battle in 15th at the moment, I believe, with some of the Mach 1 Esports cars. Luke, a little bit of damage to his car as well.
Just trying to work out who he is battling with. Looks like Ruben Phelps. So just running in the pack there with Phelps, and it might be, I think it's Aidan Schultz as well. Didn't quite catch the number on the 52. It is the 52 there of Schultz. So Luke there in a Mark 1 sandwich.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a sandwich there. There's Matty Raymond as well, just catching up, and if I recall, I think I should be just behind Matty Raymond at this stage, and it starts to close up here in this little bit of a pack as the racing does get a little bit tighter through the mid of the field. Yeah, there I am, just down there battling with Stephen Williams at the moment. The battle is definitely heating up, and it is very close racing out there all the way down. And it's one of the things you have to remember in this Oval Series is, we have such close racing up the front, but the racing is just as close from first to 40th position. Those places can be all tightly contested.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out the position on the track is actually updating here, so I can see sort of who's further back and jump back in the pack. So Paz here is currently running in a group with Cock Raymond and Ryan Richmond as well, so they're battling away and a little bit further down the order, but not quite up to date there, but as you say, close racing right the way throughout the field.
Yeah, that's it, and it does get, it is one of the fun things of getting to race in the league as well, and especially in the trucks, it's a good place to start learning this sort of oval racing. If you're a bit unsure and never had a chance to come oval racing properly, or not 100% sure on it, it's a good place to start out in the trucks because you get a lot of experience very quickly. These guys, they race very hard but very fair as well, which is always a nice thing, and it's something you've got to do at these sort of speeds as they are running over 200 kilometers per hour. So close together as well. You do have to have that little bit of respect, and you've got to race fair as well as hard, and that sometimes is a little bit harder than it seems, because it is very easy to make a mistake. All it takes is a momentary lapse of concentration, and all of a sudden your car is into somebody and it can be a huge wreck. But Josh Mickelmore in the lead at the moment over his teammate Danny G, with Ryan Jones there in third position, Lachlan Urquio in fourth, with James Robbie there in fifth.
So quite tight at the front. We are 60 on lap 69 of 102, so soon enough starting to get into the countdown rather than the count up to the end of this race. And at the moment, these front five not relenting, as you say. Ryan Jones very pacey indeed there, just closing right up on the back of Danny G through the corner. So he got a good run there, and maybe a little bit better grip, looking after its tyres a little bit more. The 111 car at this point in time, with Danny G having a push.
Yeah, doing a good job at the moment. It's been a sort of relatively short run as we're on lap 70 now, and a few cars in sort of different positions as they stand. But it's this sort of time where your tyres are starting to get a little bit loose. There's always a big bit of smoke up on the screen, and is that somebody getting a bit loose there, I wonder? It does start to get to the point now where the tyres are starting to go a little bit out, and it's very easy to run wide, very easy to make a mistake. All it takes is a momentary lapse of concentration. If you lift off the accelerator a tenth of a second too late, all of a sudden you can be up in that barrier and you can have a big crash.
Yeah, and it looks like Paul Jackson and Christopher Finlay are also just closing up on the back of the lead pack as well. So while Mickelmore, Jones, Danny G, Lockie and James Robbie are fighting it out in those top five positions, you can just see there that Finlay and Paul Jackson are starting to close up on that lead pack, which will blow that out to 7.
Yeah, Paul Jackson, well worth mentioning. He started down in 40th position, so he has made some seriously good gains up there at the front, starting 40th, and he is up there battling for the front places at the moment. Brilliant run there from Paul Jackson in that very, very nice liveried car.
What this is allowed to happen is Josh Mickelmore now blown the lead out to 2.2 seconds, while those behind him battle away. So we can see this pack here. Just got Jones, Danny G, Lockie, Urquio in it. And we've also got the 41 of James Robbie. So there's these four. Bit of damage on the back of Danny G's car as well. I'm not sure that I remember seeing that before. So that's potentially happened while we've been covering a little bit of the rest of the pack.
If I recall correctly, I think that may have been from James Robbie just giving him a little bit of a tap in the back. I seem to remember a little bit of radio chatter on that one. It was just a little tiny bit of an accident, nothing major though, and it's not going to affect Danny G too much, luckily, with that respect. So yeah, he should be okay with that. It's never fun to have a little bit of damage, but it's not terrible as it stands. As they are very close at the moment, as they side by side as they're crossing the line, Creo and Jones at the moment. But these guys are really putting on a great show up at the front of the pack.
There's that trailing pack's around about 6 cars. Got a very much down on the infield there, so just getting out of the way. As it looked like in the background there, someone went shooting off down in towards pit wall. So, or the infield, I should say. Doesn't look like anything's come of it though. So we've still got this battle pack of 5, soon to be 6 cars. And it's very, very close there between the 41 of Robbie James and the 24 of Danny G. As trade positions as they enter into the turn.
Yeah, it is so tiring racing like that side by side each lap. It is a lot of concentration needed, of course, for those front runners, and yeah, it does take it out of you a little bit as you're running there constantly side by side with each other and running in those positions. But Ryan Jones has managed to come out of that in the best position at the moment. He's managed to get up ahead of Lachlan Urquio. James Robbie there getting a good run as well down on that inside of the sort of quite a trioval section here at Charlotte, but that little bit of a bit of a kink on the front straight there, getting a good run there, just getting ahead of Lachlan as the cars are flying along. But yeah, you've got to say at the moment out front is looking good for Josh Micklemore.
Yeah, so he's starting to catch up to some lap traffic now. This one in front of him, the 555 of Aaron Major. So that is him starting to make his way through there. Lockie's just dropped a whole heap on the screen. I just can't quite read that at the moment, but we'll come back to you, Lockie.
Thanks, Lockie. It was Lockie that went into the back of Danny because Ryan Jones had a little bit of a half spin that caused that, and Lachlan didn't quite have time to react, and so had a little bit of damage to the nose, a little bit of damage to the nose of his car, and that's where the damage from Danny G's car came from. So not good to hear, but thank you for letting us know, Lockie.
And good to see Danny jumping into the chat there with a laugh as well. So all good in this one. So, but that pack's still thick and still running nice and close to 42 of Lachlan Urquio there, right up on the back of Danny G again. So that battle has resumed, and you've got the 231 there of Paul Jackson joining in now. Did mention earlier, Paul Jackson up 27 places so far in this race, so he's had a really, really good run, currently running in 5th.
Yeah, I think that might have been Aaron Major going slightly sideways into pit lane. I didn't quite catch it properly, but somebody going into pit lane looked a little bit more sideways than you would want it to be. Very easy to make a mistake on the pit entry here when you are going in under green, because it's quite a quick run in here as you go off of turn number 4 into pit lane, and it's very easy to lock up a wheel and make a big mistake.
So 21 laps to go now, and it is we've just jumped on back up to the front here and having a look at James Robbie on the back of Ryan Jones. So these two have managed to break away a little bit, and they're in pursuit of our race leader Josh Micklemore, currently just 2 seconds up the road. And just see him there at the top of the screen. So he is trying to work together to make their way back up onto the back of him.
Yeah, they are trying their best to get some positions up there and get things working out for them. I've got a feeling we skipped past a little bit of action earlier on as the pace truck has come out. We have got a caution on lap 82.
Yeah, well, this will make things interesting because we've been running on a green for around about 40 laps, if I'm not too mistaken. No, we're around about 30 laps, my apologies, since the last caution period. So we'll see. Expect to see everyone jump in, I would suggest, and get prepared for potentially a green flag run to the end of this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody decides to stay out. or if we're going to see a big migration of cars coming into pit road. I think we're going to see a migration of cars, in all honesty, because it's a fair few laps to go with this race to run under green and to keep it out there. So a lot of these drivers coming in. Josh Micklemore's going to lead the way with Ryan Jones just behind him.
Yeah, an absolute train of cars coming in. In fact, pretty much the entire field that were still running have jumped into pit lane. There might be one or two who have stuck out, but not even showing them on the screen. On perhaps we are. Gavin Fitzpatrick is our current race leader, and he will, as he has done, make his way past the pace truck. So not even actually going to retain that.
Might just jump back to Josh Micklemore quickly, because he actually got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane and has to start at the back of the line. So Josh Micklemore there getting a penalty, which is absolutely devastating to him from that leading position. So that is going to be a costly one for Josh Micklemore.
So that does mean that Ryan Jones jumps up into the lead of this race.
Yeah, Ryan Jones in a very favourable position at the moment. Just ahead of him, I think that was it's the 98 there. Sorry, the 88. Sorry, keep my eyes checked. Of Knight, just a bit further down the field. There's a little bit of order, just higgledy at the moment. A few cars out of position. And as I said, a few cars getting quite damaged in a couple of those incidents as well. Quite a few of those incidents were big ones as well. I was going to say, we did actually miss part of the race when we had that little mishap earlier on. There was a second caution that came out after the caution around about lap 20, which caused the field to quite a lot of the field to come back in again to change tyres. A few people stayed out there, Ryan Jones and myself included, and that changed things a little bit to the race. But things started sorting themselves out around about this stage anyway. But that was missed a little bit earlier on, unfortunately. A little bit tricky, as we say, on these replays, because we don't have all the usual things that we have. We don't have all our usual toys to play with, unfortunately.
No, absolutely. They get taken away, and that's the consequence for not broadcasting the race live. So bad on me for not being able to do that, but sometimes life gets in the way, and we won't have these issues tomorrow night when we're back live from 7:45 for the Cup, which I think you said last night we're off to Richmond.
Yeah, we're off to, I'm pretty sure it's Richmond. Yes, Richmond Raceway. So another one of those tracks that can be tricky. We've sort of seen a few drivers just saying, make sure to get some practice out there for Richmond, because it can be a tricky track. It can be easy to lose it. The car apparently is very loose out there as well. We have had some updates for the Cup Series and for NASCAR in iRacing, and it has changed things up a little bit. So people are getting told to sort of just prepare for that one, because it could be a little bit tricky, and we don't want to see a repeat of what happened at Martinsville, obviously. Although not anyone's major fault, it just can happen sometimes. You just have a bit of a bad race, and sometimes cautions breed cautions, unfortunately, and these things happen.
And the Godfather has spoken. So all the drivers on warning for tomorrow night, so do join us for that one at 7:45. We'll bring you some updates around what's been going on behind the scenes, and yeah, look forward to bringing that one to you live tomorrow. But we've still got, when the pace car pulls in here, we're going to have 14 laps under green flag. No, my mathematics is terrible. 18 laps under green flag. So plenty to go here, and the dynamic of this race has changed a little bit there, with Josh Micklemore getting a drive-through penalty getting a penalty for speeding in pit lane and having to move to the rear of the field. So he took tyres, so did most of the field, I believe. So he's going to be trying to cut his way through the field when the pace truck pulls in now, and we get ourselves back underway with Ryan Jones and I believe it's James Robbie up next to him in the 41 green machine. But Jones gets a fantastic start here, and it is Danny G and James Robbie next to one another fighting, with Danny G down on the inside line, just trying to catch up with the numbers. I think that may be as well Paul Jackson just behind them in fourth.
Big incident a bit further back, and that's going to bring out another caution. Big crash midfield there. You just saw it in the background. Not sure exactly, can't remember who exactly was involved in that one, but a lot of cars getting caught up down the back straight there. Aidan Schultz, I believe, involved in that one.
I think it may have been Aaron Major, Nathan Rawlock potentially involved in that, along with Cam James. Yeah,
I seem to remember as well. Aidan Schultz getting caught up in that. I think somebody got caught up in the wall, and there was a big incident back there that caused a few drivers to tense up a little bit, myself included. As I said, it was a bit of an eventful night down towards the mid-pack area. Quite a few times to explore the new smoke model for myself and experience it firsthand. And I must say, it is absolutely terrifying sometimes. But yeah, big incident back there, and a fair few drivers taken out in that accident, unfortunately.
So just the usual, and Aidan Schultz there just jumping into pit lane as well. So his string of bad luck continues. He'll be looking forward to getting to the end of this season and finding out whatever animal it is that might have crossed his path and making the move along, because he certainly has had his fair share of bad luck.
That's it, and then that's one of the things with luck. It does change, fortunately, sometimes for the better. So hopefully we will see that coming back around, especially for the whole team. They've had a few races where things have not gone their way, but they are definitely a team with some very strong drivers on board. So things will start looking better for them as it goes on. Right now, a little bit further down the field, the former leader of my words are failing me right now. My brain has just gone completely dead for a second.
That's all right. Let me take over if you like, Carl. Have a little bit of a spell quickly. Lockie's just jumped in and said that should have effectively a swear jar running for the commentary team. For times when we might say something like cautions breed cautions, and then the next minute it happens. So it's probably not a bad idea. Raise some good money for charity.
I would say that, but I'm an extremely tight-pocketed person, so...
No, that's fine. We wouldn't do that anyway. We would restrict our creative freedom far too much.
We do, of course, have the I'm going to say it now, the pace car jar, of course, whenever you call it a pace car. That's always a slap on the wrist for the safety car jar, I should say, sorry, for the pace car, because that's the common misconception for the road racers. They always go, oh, the pace car's out, safety car's out, sorry. And yeah, that's always the big one that they find. Josh Micklemore finding himself sort of right at the back of the cars on the lead lap at the moment, sort of the top 20 at the moment on that lead lap. And he, if I recall, he's sitting right on the tail of me at the moment, as I'm down there in about 18th position, I think. Joshy Micklemore was not used to seeing. He was a bit surprised to be that. To see me in front of him, and threw him out a little bit. Completely threw him off his game. He did not expect to see the wonderful Screezer car up in front of him. So yeah, he had some fun following that one.
Time will tell as to whether or not you've got that one up on top of him, of course, of saying that you beat him. So we'll see how that plays out from here. We'll get back underway, I believe, this time around, and get the race started again. As no, the lights are still on the pace truck, so we will go around one more time, but this should be it.
Yeah, one more lap on the pace truck. And then we'll be going back to green with Ryan Jones up there in the lead with Danny G next to him. But yeah, it was fun to have a little bit of a race against Joshy Micklemore. Always fun to race these guys. As I said, it was a pleasure to be out there last night. And a big thank you to all of the drivers for being so accommodating. Not last night, I keep saying last night, Monday night even. On Monday night, it was very nice of all the drivers to be so accommodating and pleasant towards me as well, because often as a commentator, they do like to tease you a little bit.
Yes, but they all love it when they're on the screen and you're talking about them, so they can't go too hard. And the 42, I was just noticing, lucky you're still in the crowd there. The front of your car's got a fair amount of damage on it. That's obviously from that incident that we were talking about just before. But other than that, the cars at the front here, all in pretty much dealership condition. So a little bit of damage on the back of the 24, as you know. And other than that, they're all pristine and ready to roll again. So should set this one up for a really good finish, as the pace truck will pull in this time, and we're going to have 11 laps to go in this race here at Charlotte.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shoot out here. Got a 10-lap, well, say 10-lap shootout officially, but there are a couple of extra laps on this one. That might be a little bit of a spoiler if people know their NASCAR racing. But the pace truck has come in. Ryan Jones gets away, gets a good launch there, manages to get away with the cars just behind him of Danny G, James Robbie, Paul Jackson, and Lachlan Urquio.
Tell you what this does do, not having the overlays working, is really get you to commit to memory the car numbers and the drivers. So the updates for us not happening, but James Robbie now right on the back of Danny G in that lime green. Oh, lime green, he probably won't be happy with me calling it that machine that he is running. And you can see here the battle, 3 of the front runners. And
just get you to pull the cameras out a little bit. Just go a bit wider on the old camera angles as the pace truck is out. A little bit of an incident there causing the pace truck to come back out again. So we are going to come down to a shootout situation with the green-white checker. Not a green-white checker. We're gonna come down to a shootout situation with a couple of laps to go. Sorry. So pace truck has come out. An incident there. Not 100% sure on what that incident was. I don't have it in my notes, sadly. But there was a bit of a big spin through the field as well. Again, another bit of an incident, and that's caused the pace truck to come out. So we're going to have a few laps under that. We'll get back to racing very shortly.
Like maybe Brian Richmond. And I've got a note here saying that, Lockie, you jumped to pits as well. Lockie, you're in the chat somewhere, able to tell us if that's the case. Did you end up having a spin there? We didn't quite see.
Yeah, I think it was Lachlan and maybe Paul Jackson. We'll hear from Lockie, who will let us know exactly what happened with that one, I'm sure. But yeah, jump on the 42
he's just confirmed there. He said you should see the 42 now. She was in that last caution, so obviously no longer in any sort of condition to run.
No, very unfortunate for Lachlan.
There it is on screen there, a very, very sad looking 42 with a punched in right rear quarter panel. So that was night over for that one.
Yeah, what I'll get you to do is actually follow for this restart. We'll follow, if we follow in the sort of a little bit in the middle of, sort of middle-ish of the pack. Paul Jackson just drifted up the track into Lachlan Urquio and just tagged him into the traffic there, and that caused quite a few cars to get some damage, and did shoot a few cars up into some much higher positions as well. If I just get you to jump to Mirko Dortnack for me, and he should be up in the top areas, up in the sort of top 10ish on positions at the moment. So himself, Luke Traher, people like that, they've managed to get a little bit higher up there. And for the restart, we'll keep an eye on those guys.
A little bit of insider knowledge there on FGM eCast. That's why we've got a driver in the commentary team tonight, just to help us out with that. Of course, Carl always here, but we'll see what happens. Like he's given us a rundown there of what happened to himself. But I'm guessing, based on this, Carl, that we've got another caution period coming in our future.
It was a 100 lap race, and there's 102 laps, so there might be a bit of a spoiler there for you guys. So yeah, we might have another caution coming up shortly, but as I said, at the moment we're running a little bit higher than expecting, up there in the top top 15, 16, I think I am, just a little bit further back. So there are a few cars up in the sort of top 20 positions, which is always nice to be in.
Up 17 positions, according to the report here, Carl, from your starting position.
Yes, managed to climb my way up the field a little bit. I don't want to do too much self-promotion, of course. If you ever do want to see more of my jaunts and things like that, look me up as Skreezilla, SKREEZILLA. Of course, no self-promotion here tonight, but that's my channel that I do most of my bits and bobs on, of course. Cough, cough. Anyway, pace car lights, the truck's lights are out, and we're going to be getting back to racing very shortly here. So, getting towards the end of the race, we've got technically 5 laps remaining, but no spoilers coming up. But something may happen here.
Do not look away, is what Carl's saying. If you haven't seen or weren't involved, there's going to be some action, and I'm going to say that you probably want to be looking on lap 99.
Yes, it's going to get a bit close up at the top of the field. I probably recommend maybe even jumping out to the blimp cam if you can, Stuart. Just getting a bit of a wider view of the old track to sort of see everybody in their action. Camera angle is always a bit of a tricky thing to work out, but we're going back to green flag racing here at Charlotte. It was, as I said, it was nice to actually be out there racing again. Much as I love being up in the broadcast booth, I do like to be able to get out there racing. But pace truck has come in. Ryan Jones is going to lead away, gets a little bit of a nudge from James Robbie, and away we go. Back to green flag racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Oh no! Oh wow! What? There's going to be some conversations had there, surely.
Crank Esports teammates getting into each other, unfortunately, and that black car just on the green there, unfortunately, from personal experience with a very smoky engine, that is myself there getting caught in that incident, sadly. Big crash there at the front of the pack, though. Mirko Dortnak and Luke Trahair both getting caught into each other. This has given Ryan Jones the green-white checker, so we're going to have a green-white checker for this race. So it's not over yet. We still have some racing to go, but Ryan Jones is in the lead at the moment, and it is looking good for him. From my personal little bit of race, I did get the meatball flag coming out, so I had to jump into pit lane and get a little bit of repair done.
Looks like that would have been a very interesting team debrief after that one. Reminds me a little bit of Tickford Motorsport, or Tickford Racing, as it should be called. So there's an unusual one there with the two teammates coming together. So they are both suffering from damage. Dortnak, of course, jumping back into pit lane, so his race is over.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the drivers up in the top 10 actually got caught up in that one. So we ended up having a lot of cars getting caught up in that and dropping a few laps behind. A fair few drivers ended up with some serious damage. Ruben Phelps up there in the top 10, I believe, actually had some damage to the front of the car and ended up suffering with some engine issues a little bit later on. but is keeping going at the moment. You can see quite a lot of damage to the front of that car. A lot of those cars are a bit beaten up, but Paul Jackson up there in fourth position at the moment, starting 40th, up there in fourth. A brilliant drive from himself and managing to get right up to the top of the field after a not so good qualifying session.
And an absolutely pristine looking truck as well. So he's kept it clean. And he's also joined by the 104 of Christopher Finlay, whose truck looks in a reasonable nick as well. So, albeit it's going to be a 3-lap run to the end, it's going to be under some pressing conditions for the drivers they've got here, and they're going to be able to race to the end with some clean trucks up the front.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race up the front. Another driver that's doing well up there is Nigel Patton. Started 29th, is up there in, I think, the top 10 at the moment. He's up there in that top group as we stand. So, again, another good drive out there. A few drivers getting some good positions made throughout the race. But Paul Jackson, definitely the winner of the biggest winner of positions gained through the evening so far. But there is a restart to go. There is still a green and white checker to come out. Will he be able to hold it? Will Ryan Jones be able to keep a hard charging Danny G off his rear? That's another big question.
So the lights are still on the pace truck, so we'll have one more lap, I think, before we get going to green flag, as it will be lap 99.
Lap 99 will be the one to go, and of course you get the one chance with the green white checker. So get the green white checker if you've never seen it or heard of it before. Basically, it's there to help make the race last if you get a caution towards the end of the race, so it doesn't finish under pace car. So it effectively gives the drivers a chance to come out there and try and get some try and fight for a few positions and try and work their way up there. I was down in 13th position at this stage, I think it was. No, 14th. Yes, 13th position. Managed to get back out of the pit lane with a very patched up truck in 13th position, but it definitely was not healthy. Myself and Tristan Koch having a little bit of a race towards the end, but the main fight is going to be up the front between Ryan Jones and Danny G, with James Robbie there as well. So James Robbie, definitely one to watch out for. He is going to be starting on that inside line as well, so that's going to be a big advantage to James Robbie. Paul Jackson will be behind Danny G, I think. So as they start to pair up side by side at the moment, so 2 by 2 they go. Ryan Jones is going to be the leader. It's going to be his prerogative to put his foot down, and it's going to be a green white checker to finish us off here at a slightly unusual broadcast for the Charlotte race of the ANZCAR Truck Series.
Yeah, absolutely, but we at least got it up for people to watch. It's been good having a couple of the drivers jump into the stream, keep us company, and explain some of the things that you can see. It has been a war of attrition, or even a race of attrition, a campaign of survival, as we've only got roughly about 15 or 16 cars that are going to, trucks even, that are going to finish the race. I'm just trying to count there. Yeah, it is 16 trucks left in this one, so a very, very heavy war of attrition, and it is going to be Ryan Jones and Danny G who are going to take us away when the truck goes green. James Robbie's been pacey all night, so keep an eye out for him. And of course we've got Paul Jackson sitting in there as well. His truck is in extraordinarily clean condition. We've seen drivers in this series from as far back as 7th win the race on the green-white checker restart, so don't go anywhere as we're about to get back underway. It'll be Ryan Jones. He's done 2 good restarts tonight, and this one is no different at all. He gets away, and the 24 of Danny G has now got some work to do, with James Robbie getting down underneath him as we get the white flag to get this one back underway. James Robbie there has taken 2nd position now, so Danny G's going to have to chase him down.
Really good positioning by Ryan Jones. He's managed to get out in the lead there, but James Robbie managed to slot himself up into 2nd, as I said, starting on that lower line at a little bit of an advantage. Danny G now trying to do the up and under on James Robbie. Is he going to make it work? Doesn't look like it. It's going to be neck and neck as they cross the line.
Very, very close finish there for second position. Looked like it was only about 3/10, so it was indeed Ryan Jones who managed to get it home. I think Danny G taking out second, and James Robbie, a good drive from him, in third position. Well done to those three drivers. And certainly as well, a very, very notable mention to Paul Jackson, who has ended up finishing fourth, having started basically at the rear of the field.
Yeah, sorry, that's our finish just there. Sorry, Stuart. Sorry, just that little bit of confusion there. James Robbie taking second place. Just Danny G just losing out a little bit towards the end there. Ryan Jones does indeed take the win there. Ryan Jones getting the victory for the night in the 111 car, with James Robbie managing to get that second place in the end in the 41. Danny G finished in third place with Paul Jackson in fourth. 40 positions gained. What a brilliant drive from Paul Jackson. Christopher Finley there in fifth position. Stephen Williams managed to work his way up to sixth. Very quiet night from Stephen Williams there, but he managed to get up there. Very good job again, and that's going to help with championship standings as always. Stephen Williams constantly just doing those finishes that he needs to do. Nigel Patton 29th to 7th. Gary Wellman 24th to 8th. Luke Trahir managed to finish in 9th at the end of that race, and Ruben Phelps in 10th. I managed to finish in 11th, so I was kind of happy about that one. Carl Withy there in 11th, with Manny Raymond in 12th, Tristan Koch in 13th, Nathan Button in 14th, with Nathan Rowlock 15th. 16th was Parry Anastakis, with Matt Knight 17th, 18th Fitzpatrick. Josh Micklemore ended up finishing in 19th position after getting caught in an incident, and Marco Dortnack in 20th place.
We're just watching Ryan Jones celebrate here, and obviously being a replay, there is no post-race interviews tonight. We've not been joined by any of the drivers.
Well, I mean, I'm here, I guess. But
probably,
yeah, no,
probably a little harsh. We have got one of the drivers here, absolutely. So, but
I only finished 11th. Come on, it's not that bad.
Of course, Carl. The question to ask you then is, how did you find the race overall, other than that late incident?
Well, actually, it wasn't too bad. It ended up being quite intense towards the end there, because I had to go in and get my engine repaired because I had the meatball flag come out, of course, and I lost a lap from that. If I'd managed to stay on the lead lap, it would have been a top 10 finish, unfortunately. But I ended up coming out in about 12th position, just behind Tristan Koch. We ended up having a battle of cars that were very broken towards the end there. So I managed to claw my way back up to 11th position, which I was pretty happy about. And it's actually popped me back up in the top 30 in the championship. So that's something as well. 3 races in the series and in 30th position of the championship. Got to say, quite happy with that. But no, it was an absolute pleasure racing with those guys Monday night. It was a fun race to actually have. Unfortunately, we couldn't show you some of the sort of more extreme moments. There was some very, very nail-biting moments as the incidents happened. But there was some great racing, as always, up the front, and Ryan Jones just taking out a brilliant victory there.
Absolutely. So that is that for tonight for us. Thanks for joining us, those who did. We are back tomorrow night, as we said, with the Cup Series. So that's back at our usual time, 7:45, live here on FGM eCast, and looking forward to bringing you that one. Carl, thanks for jumping into the stream as usual and helping me get this one across the line, all bar with the hiccups and bits and pieces. But we'll know if we've got to do it again in the future that, don't hit the replay button because it will stuff up the stream. That's okay. Yes. We live and we learn. So for another night on FGM eCast, thanks very much to those of you who joined, and we will see you tomorrow night from 7:45 live here on FGM eCast, your E-Place for Pace. Have a great evening.